Welcome one and all to a Trainlover16 video! Greetings, my dear subscribers. I hope you all understand the break I took from these VHS reviews. As you know, I needed more time to focus on Redcliffe Railway Tales. But now, it's finally time that I got back to them. So today's VHS review has been heavily requested, in particular by Martin Hodgson. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, and also I'll put a card linking his channel on your screen now. So, yeah, he really wanted me to do this VHS review, and as I couldn't think of anything else to replace the Jimbo VHS review I had planned for this episode, I thought, screw it, why not? So today, we're reviewing this branch line railway documentary with Sir John Betjamin, introduced by Michael Payne. So Martin, thank you for your patience, and this review is for you. So I don't really know anything about Sir John Betjamin or Michael Payne. I hadn't heard of him until Martin told me about him. But I do know a lot about branch lines and Dr. Beeching. So yeah, this is basically a collection of BBC black and white documentaries filmed by Sir John Betjamin and narrated, with colour segments by Michael Payne as well. So yeah, this should be an interesting watch. And I should have a lot to say about all the trains and railways featured in this documentary. Right, so here's the front cover, here's the spine, here's the back. First broadcast in March 1963. There's also two additional documentaries about number 7000 Britannia and the Atlantic Coast Express. Very nice stuff. Broadcast 1990. I have no clue what that number is there, so I don't know when this VHS was released. If any of you know, then please tell. If any of you know, then please tell me in the comments. And running time 47 minutes. Okay, sit back, relax, go and get some snacks and drink if you like. This review's going to be about 50-ish minutes. We're not going to rewind I'm not going to show you guys the tape rewinding at the end, because there's tons of excess tape on here, as is typical with quite a few BBC videos. And also I've got to get on. I've got stuff to do today, other than filming this VHS review. I've got to film. I'm hoping to film all of the last episode of Redcliffe Railway Tales Season 6 today. Or at the very least, the outside scenes, because it's going to be raining tomorrow. I need as much dry weather as possible to film. Okay, in you go. Camera onto the tripod, and let's go. Oh yeah, and this particular copy I have has a flickering sound in the audio, so I do apologise if it gets annoying throughout this review, guys. Ah, the BBC Diamond Star logo. I know that that this is one of, if not Martin's favourite logo, and I think this is the first VHS review I've ever done that's featured this logo. It's a fantastic logo. I do agree with Martin, it is a really fantastic logo, and I even used its theme as the opening for the Trainlover16 home video. DVD releases for Redcliffe Railway Tales. Well, quote, I say DVD, but they're not really physical copies, though I have made physical copies of the first Redcliffe Railway Tales DVD. There's Michael Payne. Not sure when this was filmed. The 80s, it looks like. Though I could be wrong.
This small railway station, preserved by a group of enthusiasts in Buckinghamshire, was typical of hundreds of similar stations up and down the country, often miles away from the villages which they served. Villages with wonderful names like Constable Bar, Daisy Hill, Stolps.
Those are. I'd say that they're weird and wonderful names.
A network of rural railways meandering gently through the English.
Yeah, British village names are strange. I'll just say that.
Passengers barely paying for the price of the coal.
Oh god.
In fact, very few of these local rural railway lines made a penny from the moment they opened in Victorian times to the day they closed under Beeching in the mid-1960s.
Oh, I had no idea they weren't making money even well before Beeching.
They were generally wooden, but very well looked after and very well kept up. There'd be a garden tended by the staff under the...
They were just built to serve those communities and not to make money.
Always be lit by gas. There'd be a coal fire burning in the winter. They were clean but austere. There was never any vandalism or graffiti in stations like this. And although you might have to wait a long time, you could do so in complete safety. At the back of the station would be the sidings, where the daily mixed pickup goods train would arrive, bringing maybe 2 private coal wagons for local merchants, or a goods van containing a tractor or foodstuffs for the farmers, or maybe just the major's luggage up from Southampton. Then it would pick up the empties.
Oh yeah, 4F. Fowler 4F.
But by the end of the 1960s...
I have a soft spot for the 4F locomotives. They may not be that big, but I have a soft spot for them. Can't really explain why though. There's just something about small tender engines that just touches my soft spot. I'm sorry, that sounds a bit, but you know what I mean. Obviously, I prefer larger tender engines, but there's something about small tender engines, especially small tender goods engines like the 4Fs, that I just like. Can't really explain why, though.
Sir John Betjamin came to Quainton Road to film his unforgettable BBC programme, Metroland. 11 years earlier, he stood on different footbridge, looking down at a different line, while filming his first and less well-known documentary, which was simply entitled Branch Line Railway.
Okay. Branch lines.
Evercreech Junction, Somerset. It was to be the Clapham Junction of the West, the place where one line branched away to Bath.
The Somerset and Dorset Railway.
The main line ran to Highbridge and collared the coal from Cardiff. That Pickwickian figure in the frightful hat is, I'm sorry to say, me talking to the station master.
One of the...
Station master's life. That's something worth living. And you can see why Evercreech Junction...
One of the biggest lines that I feel Beeching shouldn't have closed.
The level crossing gates are worked from the signal box. And here comes the 1232 from Sturminster Newton on her way to Bath, calling at Evercreech Junction, change for Glastonbury, Shapwick and stations to Highbridge. And as we say goodbye to the station master, please notice that on expenses I'm travelling first.
Oh, very nice.
Forget motor cars.
Very
Get
comfortable.
rid of anxiety.
Very comfortable.
And here, to the rhythm of the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. Dream again that ambitious Victorian dream which caused this long railway still to be running through deepest, quietest, flattest, remotest, least spoiled Somerset.
Nice. And Dorset.
This is the line we'll be travelling on. Once it was part of a grand scheme,
the branch line to Burnham-on-Sea.
And even to stretch to France. The scheme failed. The main line went along there on the right to Bath and the Midlands. And here's our own bit of line, reduced to a branch. And even that has lost its twigs to Wells and Bridgewater.
Mood.
Was the first friend the Somerset Central ever had. And it's the Somerset Central line we're travelling now. It's rather a relief to be drawn by steam through this uneventful countryside.
Yeah.
Just to hear the noises we knew as children. It's the sad road to the sea.
The sad road? What? Why is it sad?
West Kennard Station, built of the local limestone. And one of the reasons why the Great Western liked this line a century ago was because it was also broad gauge, like the Great Western used to be.
I'm pretty sure the Somerset and Dorset was operated by the Southern Railway in the days of the Big Four.
Villas and petrol stations.
Could be wrong though, it could have been the Great Western, I'm not really sure. But I'm pretty sure it was the Southern Railway.
You'll find...
Now honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of black and white photography. I mean, it's nice. I understand it was all they had before the likes of The Wizard of Oz, but,
Glastonbury Station. I suppose the promoters
and I'm sure black and white cameras were cheaper than colour cameras back then, but still, it would have been nice if these documentaries were in colour, like the opening segments by Michael Payne.
Here for 2 minutes. I always like to get out and have a look. There's always something to see in a railway station. Let's have a look at the waiting room.
He has a strangely relaxing voice. John Betjamin has a strangely relaxing voice.
Tradition,
I think that might be one of the reasons why Martin loves this VHS so much.
I say, I hope you're enjoying this journey as much as I am.
Mm.
You really see much more country once you've got out of the railway station on a train.
Oh, Dr. Beeching, what have you done? There once were lots of trains to catch, but soon there will be none. I'll have to buy a bike, 'cause I can't afford a car. Oh, Dr. Beeching, what a naughty man you are.
It's written to a sort of railway meter, and it
In all seriousness, screw Dr. Beeching. These branch lines are fantastic. Scenery is so nice.
The sun plays.
Didn't Beeching realise that these railways depend, that the communities these railways served depended on them, and even though they were loss makers, that's why they built them in the first place?
Side by side.
Screw money.
Forest, black moor wide, and where the parrot ran.
Screw British Railways.
The gusts on Mendy Bridge had crossed the Yo, unhelped by bridge, been stung by every marshwood midge. I and my fancy man. This quiet part of Somerset has got its industries besides farming, cutting withes for basket making.
Oh, that's nice.
And the railway carries a lot of the peat, which is cut on Sedgemoor.
Oh yeah, kind of like coal. Coal, but softer, basically.
This is the village of Shapwick. Grey limestone. I suppose they hope
very lovely.
There'll be houses all along the road from the village to the station 2 miles off. And at Eddington and Birtles,
cute
they
station.
built a railway hotel by the station.
Oh, nice.
I suppose they thought you'd need a rest before the walk to the village.
It's only 2 miles. I reckon I can walk. Not as remote as Burnham-on-Sea station, certainly. I'm pretty sure that's a Great Western locomotive pulling the train. I really don't know. Was?
Go away, you brute. You enemy of railways and comfortable travel.
Yes. I don't know. Was the Somerset and Dorset operated by the Southern Railway or the Great Western Railway? Maybe it was operated by both.
You know, I'm not just...
Actually, as it's known as the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, it was probably operated by both the Southern and Great Western Railways. That's most... I reckon that's why it was known as the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. If I'm right in assuming this, if I'm correct in assuming this, guys, please tell me in the comments. Or tell me if I'm wrong.
What's more, it's wrong in every way. When we all of us know that road traffic is becoming increasingly hellish on this overcrowded island.
I could not agree more.
From now, there'll be 3 times as much.
You are speaking the You are speaking the truth, Mr. Betjamin.
What will the West Country be like then? How will we get anywhere in summer, except by railway? How will we see...
People were stupid back in the 60s to think that cars were the future. Nowadays, cars clog up the roads, especially the M25.
Lines we've torn up.
You know what I think?
Go to rot. I mean, even
I think an orbital railway should be built to supplement the M25. Then it wouldn't be anywhere near... Then hopefully the M25 wouldn't be anywhere near as crowded. There are plenty of trips I make on the M25 that I'd much rather do by train. Orbi Rail, I'd call it. London's orbital railway. Just as the M25 is known as London's orbital motorway.
Somerset and Dorset. So I suppose I'd better get out. The old Somerset Central Railway, which later became the Somerset and Dorset Joint, started here on its long journey to the English Channel in 1852. And High Bridge is a piece of railway history. It's also a railway contrast. But come and see the older station. There it is, with a diesel hurrying through it to the west, to Bridgewater and Exeter.
A warship class.
One of Brunel's original stations, with the broad eaves and the cut stone for the doorways and the windows. cross over the bridge and come and see a slightly younger station, High Bridge of the Somerset and Dorset joint. You see, High Bridge was the crew of the old Somerset and Dorset. And there is the war memorial to the Somerset and Dorset men who fell in the 1914 war. For this place was the headquarters of the line, and I suppose that's why it is that the seats are rather special cast iron. If you want to see why it's the crew, come and look at the works. There they are. The turntable is still used for turning engines. That's an old Midland engine made in Derby.
4F.
It used to turn, that turntable, the blue S&D ones. The Midland owned the line when the Somerset and Dorset was given up.
Right.
And then the Great Western came on. And by the way,
I think another reason the Somerset and Dorset Railway was closed.
Push and pull, branch
Or push-pull
line
coach. I think another reason the Somerset and Dorset Railway closed was because of safety issues. There was a pretty nasty accident in which,
Where did it go?
due to the due to a long tunnel on the on the line, the driver and fireman of a freight train pulled by a 2807F locomotive. They both passed out due to the smoke, due to the amount of smoke produced in the tunnel, and the engine became a runaway and eventually crashed at Bath or somewhere. And I think that accident took a toll on the railway's traffic. Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons it was closed, but still, the Somerset and Dorset shouldn't have been closed. It was a fantastic. Lots of people loved it.
Since I was there, people hate anything well made, you know. It gives them a guilty conscience.
What?
This was the carriage works. And here they made the S&D coaches. I can just remember. And now let's go to the loco works.
That's very nice.
That little tank engine
Ooh.
was made here at High Bridge.
Very
and given
cute.
its royal blue livery.
Would have liked to have seen that engine in a
still
colour
used for
photo.
maintenance work. And there's a Great Western engine. The Western region still runs the line. Oh, let's go inside the store if we can get in, yes. I wonder what they kept here. Neat oil for the lamps, coupling rods, or phosphor bronze. Well, it was all part of the family life of a friendly little railway, of men who lived here in Highbridge, in these brick terraces, in a faded Swindon, a forgotten crew.
Oh, cool.
I think you ought to see the goods side of the line. There's still a lot of goods traffic, and that means the roads are that amount clearer.
Oh. Cool. I think these shots were, yeah, these very shots were seen at the start of the VHS. Oh yeah, yes, I see here. The train crashed into the goods yard on the approach to Bath Green Park Station. Henry Jennings, the driver, was killed, as well as 2 railway employees. I thought the fireman was killed as well, but okay.
I doubt if there's a quieter, sadder sight in Somerset than Pill when the train is left and it sinks back to silence.
Yeah, I remember being called by one of the 2 preserved Somerset and Dorset 7Fs when I went to the West Somerset Railway in May 2018.
Single track.
Very nice locomotives, very underrated locomotives, the Somerset and Dorset 7Fs.
Now the track behind us is secure.
Only 11 were built though. That's interesting, and also maybe a little bit dangerous.
The line is used for goods only now, and will follow the goods train through the town of Highbridge to its lonely end.
Oh, just reading on Wikipedia at the moment. Oh, lonely end, yeah, a little bit sad, but number 89, the engine that would the 7F that was involved in that accident, is actually one of the 2 preserved. I had no idea.
There it is. The place the Somerset and Dorset hoped to establish as an enormous port. Here were to be Welsh colliers from Cardiff, and who knows, perhaps Somerset colliers.
I think number 88 was the one I was pulled by. I thought that number 89 would have been scrapped.
Shunting, goods trains puffing with heavy loads,
or have been damaged beyond repair by the accident, but no, it was repaired and is still around today.
Southwest. Up here somewhere is where the colliers and cargo boats were to unload. The hope was partly realised.
Oh, nice.
That's what it's like now. High Bridge Wall, your hopes have died. They flow like driftwood down the tide, out into the open sea. Those sad, forgotten S&D. But let's not be too mournful. There was still another hope of prosperity for this part of the Somerset and Dorset Railway. Excursionists.
Oh,
In
nice.
1858, the little line to Burnham was opened, and the station is still there. Huge crowds were expected, and it's worth looking at the station in some detail as an untouched example of early railway architecture. It's got a roof over it, like a big terminus.
Very beautiful.
I couldn't get
Very,
into the waiting rooms and the booking hall because they were locked.
very nice station.
But the Southern Railway, which was one of the many companies that operated this line,
Oh, the Southern Railway was one of the railways. Yeah, it must have been.
in
Yeah.
to attract railway.
Yeah, I knew that was the reason it was known as the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway, because both
still runs
the Southern Railway and the Great Western Railway
to meet the
operated
sea.
it.
There was a pier at the end for steamship passengers crossing the Bristol Channel. Welsh people, after a holiday in Bournemouth, could run merrily back to Wales, and vice versa.
Oh,
Now,
is that
all
close to Wales?
that remains is this, and the gradient going down to the sea. The railway bought its own paddle steamer in 1884, and in 1905, the Barry Railway in Wales ran steamer excursions over here to Burnham. All gone, all gone. Transport, more than anything, changes a place. See how the railway changed Burnham. First the railway hotel, then boarding houses of the 1880s, Bristol style, built with railway prosperity, and Victorian hotels on the seafront, and slap-up buildings along the seafront of Victorian times. And signs out to attract the motorist of today. Villas for retired folk as permanent residences. In the side roads, houses where Gothers lived in the 1920s, and bungalows for our own age of the small car. Burnham, with its shining sands, was a Georgian town before the railway came. Let's have a look at it.
Oh, that looks so nice. If only the railway still served it. Or does it?
It's a beautiful seaside place. The air on the sands and on the pier is like wine. Burnham-on-Sea. The Somerset and Dorset Railway brought you prosperity a century ago. Burnham-on-Sea. In 10 years' time, when the roads are so full of traffic, we'll all be going by train again. You'll be grateful. You still have a railway to your town. Don't let Dr. Betjamin take it away from you.
No. Dr. Beeching shouldn't have closed it. the end of that. Now for the 2 bonus documentaries.
But Dr. Beeching did take it away. Not just that branch line, but the whole of the Somerset and Dorset railway system closed down on March the 6th, 1966. But worse, much worse, was to follow. Something which even now true railwaymen can hardly bring themselves to think about. The final disappearance of steam from Britain's railways in 1968. A mere 17 years before, such a proposition would have been unthinkable. There's a whole new range of 12 classes of new standard steam locomotives designed by the ex-LMS team of R.A. Riddles for British Railways was coming out of the works.
Yeah, that is so illogical. Scrapping engines that were intended to last until the 1980s, less than 20 years after they entered service.
The event was considered important enough for the BBC to include a story in one of its early editions
Unbelievable.
of television newsreel.
British Rail was
as part of the campaign to save coke. There comes to London
made such illogical decisions. It was so illogical. The whole company was ridiculous. And there she is, Britannia.
Before nationalisation, of famous classes like the LMS Royal Scot. The Great Western.
The very first British Railways 7F, aka Sir Callum's basis. I chose the BR standard class, the BR standard class 7s.
And the Southern Railways Merchant Navy class. Those 4 engine classes are some of the most famous on the rails today. And together with the best features from the 400-odd other designs now running on British Railways, they have helped to make up the new standard loco. Work on it began some months ago, when designers from the various regions got together and pooled their ideas. Once these had been translated into the blueprint stage, it was not long before Britain's largest railway workshops were on the job. And beneath the steam hammer at Crewe, it was all change for the standard loco. Standardization was all embracing. Everything was standardized, from the big boiler to the smallest spare part. In that way, servicing and repair would become a much simpler process. And
exactly, they put all that work into standardizing steam locomotives, only for them to be scrapped less than 20 years later. What's the point?
A revolution in engine design was accomplished. Amid the clatter of Crewe, the standard loco was taking shape. A new giant of the permanent way was got ready to take its permanent place in the engine spotter's notebook. At the time, most of the design was still a much-guarded secret, and all that was revealed was that there would be something new and something old. And together, this would add up to Britannia, the name given to this first example of the engine maker's standard design. Earlier this month, the standard loco, then still nameless, went out on test. A dynamometer car filled with a staff of...
Yeah, the reason I chose the standard class 7s as Sir Callum's basis is Sir Callum has all the right dimensions. He has the right right wheel and spoke shape. He has the smoke deflectors. He has the right tender shape. He has the right cab shape.
On Tuesday, the Minister of Transport, Mr. Barnes, put the newcomer officially into action. Before uncovering the brass nameplate, Mr. Barnes said that this latest British engineering product was the first of 160 standard-type locomotives to come off the assembly lines this year. And, said Mr. Barnes,
comes in 1951 when we are going to tell our story of the past, the present, and demonstrate our faith and confidence in the future in what we are now describing as the Festival of Britain. And people, we hope, will come from all over the world to see evidences of the story of this country in the past. And when they do, railwaymen will be interested, wherever they come from, will be interested to see how we are carrying on the story of railways which we invented and made known to the world. And when they look at this locomotive, ladies and gentlemen, I think they'll be able to say, as I've said in the past, Britain still leads the world with a steam locomotive. And I have very great pleasure now and
Sir Callum.
in unveiling this locomotive.
Sir Callum's physical appearance is...
a ministerial pull at the curtains uncovered the new engine's nameplate. And there for all to see was proof that
is
Britannia
the closest...
now rules the rails as well.
The Stone Class 7s are the closest real-life basis to Sir Callum, in my eyes.
By railway officials, rode out of Marylebone Station at the controls of Britain's newest engine. And Britannia, in her shining coat of dark green, gave of her best. Britannia is the largest of 12 engine types which are to be standardized by British Railways. And this week she goes into official service for the first time, hauling express passenger trains in the eastern region.
By a strange coincidence, one of the other locomotives included in that newsreel, Merchant Navy Class 35016 Elder Fife, was also the subject of another newsreel shown on a very significant day for British Railways, March the 18th, 1960, the day when the last steam locomotive made by British Rail was named Evening Star.
Oh yes, the very engine in my profile picture, the 9F.
What they did do to commemorate the beginning of the end of the age of steam was to send a cameraman on the footplate of that Merchant Navy Class 35016 as it headed the Atlantic Coast Express.
I also considered...
The engine we picked out was one of the country's top express passenger locomotives. Unlike so many
I also considered a Merchant Navy class, the Merchant Navy class, that was Sir Callum's basis, but the gaps in his wheel spokes, in Sir Callum's wheel spokes, are too small for him to be a Merchant Navy. So I decided, but they're just the right size. But the wheel spoke sizes on Sir Callum are just the right size for him to be a Britannia. So yeah, I chose the Britannia. I nearly went with him being a Merchant Navy, but in the end I decided he was a Britannia. I did also consider making him an A3, but his tender shape wasn't right. So yeah, he's close. He's close enough to being a Britannia.
Some have been thinking of higher fares to come, but one who needed no ticket that day was our cameraman Brian Johnson. He was making the run from Waterloo to the first stop, Salisbury, on the footplate of the engine. 11 o'clock is the scheduled time for departure, and 11 o'clock it is, a faultless start.
Yes. Both the Britannias and the Merchant Navies are fantastic engines, though I slightly prefer the Britannias. Slightly. Yeah, I slightly prefer the Britannias. Fantastic engines. to Ian News out of Waterloo there. Oh, the sound of those Sanders. Lovely stuff.
Driver Saunders was concerned about the boiler pressure. It was now a question of getting up and over the gradients without dropping any more on the schedule.
Very nice stuff indeed.
And the crew of 35016 achieved this, though it's the sort of thing that passes the passenger by. By now, the fireman shoveled over 2 tons of coal. But the last climb of the journey is behind him at Drateley Station.
Speeding up. Giant lump of coal there.
But no such speeds this time before driver Saunders has to slow down on the approach to Salisbury, with the satisfaction of knowing that no more time's been lost.
Very efficient.
Salisbury is one of the many places in the country where more and more of the branch line diesel trains are making their appearance. For this work, they are the final answer in the modernisation plan. On most of the main lines,
Modernisation plan, my arse. To hell with that modernisation plan. Although, to be fair, it did produce some fantastic diesels. Like the thumpers, like you just saw there. Man, I love the 205 and 207 thumpers. But couldn't there have been a compromise of both steam and diesel trains running Britain's railways? At least until the 1980s, when the standard series was originally said they'd last 2, and I think
Sadly, Southern Pacific 35016 no longer exists. The one of her sister engines, Clan Line, does, and is steamed regularly. Of the other engines you've seen in this video, 7000 Britannia is preserved by the Nene Valley Railway, and the second in that class, 70013 Oliver Cromwell, is at Bressingham. Of the 999 steam locomotives produced...
And Sir Callum is all... And in the RRT universe, Sir Callum is also preserved.
And many of those are not in full working order.
Oh,
Railway fanatics are a very biased lot.
Jeez.
Indeed, some think Great Western engines are the best. But to many people, the Britannia class and the big 21009Fs are among the finest steam locomotives ever produced.
I could agree. I agree. Certainly the 9F.
Since British Rail was so keen to get rid of its 18,000 steam engines, we and future rail enthusiasts owe a great debt of thanks to the thousands of volunteers who give up their weekends and their holidays to restore to working order the surviving locomotives from the great days of steam.
Yeah, props to them. Good on them. If only more of those 18,000 steam locomotives still existed, though. I say far more of those 18,000 should have been preserved. Excuse me. Well, that shot was seen earlier on. And I think that's the end of that VHS. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Oh, very nice shot of that semaphore signal. As I said... Oh, hang on. We'll have a look at the BBC video closing logo, which I also used for Trainlover16 home video. Right, so as I said, that's the end of this VHS, guys. I'm not going to show you the rewinding of the tape. As I said at the beginning, there's a lot of excess tape. But yeah, I quite enjoyed doing this review. It was, I had quite a bit to say in this review, though not quite as much as I thought. I mainly had more stuff to say about the mainline engines than the branch line engines mentioned in this VHS, which is ironic seeing as this tape is called Branch Line Railway. But whatever. It was what it was. Yeah, very, very interesting documentary, this. I do recommend getting it. Fantastic stuff. Very interesting documentary. Yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing this review today, guys. Not my favourite one I've done, but I still enjoyed it enough. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. Please like, comment, share this video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to me, Trainlover16, if you haven't already. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye, everyone.